Hey there, everybody. I'm hoping you can hear me with this wonderful mic of mine. I was wanting to talk to everybody about something I find quite important. The reason why, yeah, I'm trying to fix things here. The reason why I chose to have the gastric bypass surgery. I've never been thin, ever. I think the smallest I remember being was when I was in 6th grade, and I was 144 pounds. So I was big even then. When I was in my junior year of high school, I got pregnant, and I was 214 pounds in my junior year of high school when I was 17. So that's quite overweight for a 17-year-old who's 5'5". After I had my daughter, I got up to like 287 pounds by the time I had her. I was on bed rest. I was really sick. I went into preterm labor, almost lost her. So it was quite a traumatic thing. And right after that, I got pregnant again. And what didn't help matters is my father committed suicide while I was pregnant with my second child. So I just got bigger and bigger. By the time I had him, I was 308 pounds at just turned 20 years old. Since then, I just gained more weight, and then, as you guys know, I totaled out at 354 pounds. With this surgery, I've lost almost 30 pounds in 3 weeks. So, it has been a big help. And, I'm just curious to see what the future is going to be from it. But, I just got to where I couldn't work. And as a hairstylist, my back couldn't keep up with it. So, not being able to work and having 3 children, and I've never been able to really wear high heels because my entire life I've been overweight. By the time I had the surgery, I was wearing a size 36, and that's in women's. I haven't worn shorts since I was like 13, and when I was 13, was I? I'm trying to think here. I was 12 or 13 years old, and I was wearing a size 16 at that age. So I've never known what it's like to be thin. Having people look at you like there's something wrong with you, and thinking that you're lazy just because you're heavy, and thinking that all you do is eat just because you're heavy. And that's not what it is. I was actually the kind of person who really, and I find this for a lot of heavy people, that they really don't eat. They only eat once a day, and that's at nighttime. I would not eat until like 10 o'clock at night. And that is a good part of why you get heavy. You have to eat several times a day for your metabolism to stay up, and when you don't, it causes you to get heavy. And then the heavier you get, the more weight you put on, because the less you can do. The past year before my surgery, I had been going to the gym faithfully 3 days a week, doing what I could do, and I wasn't losing a pound. I felt better, but I wasn't losing anything. And another thing, I haven't ridden on a roller coaster since I was maybe 16. The last time I tried to go, I was probably 19, right before I got pregnant with my son, and I just couldn't fit the roller coasters. I had to get out. It was embarrassing. I can't walk. I haven't been able to walk to go, in an amusement park and, just be there and enjoy it. There's so many things in life I haven't been able to do. I love the outdoors. I want to go for walks. I want to go for hikes. One day I have a goal to walk at the Grand Canyon and hike. people just don't understand what it does to us. You know, for me to even get clothes, I have to order them online. You know, it just, people just think, you know, if you're fat, you're lazy, and that's it. And that's not what it is. I mean, I take good care of my 3 kids, my 3 dogs. You know, I probably do more than most thin people, to be honest. You know, I clean my house every day. You know, now that I've had the surgery, I try to walk as much as possible. You know, when I went to the gym, I found I was lifting more than most of the skinny girls. Like, it was unreal. They would complain, and I was just busting my butt. And I'm like, God, if I can do it at 350 some pounds, and you're 110 pounds, why can't you? You know? So it's not, you know, if you've not been overweight, don't judge a heavy person just from what you see. You know, their weight is not who they are. There's more to a heavy person, just like there's more to anybody. There's more to a handicapped person. Just because they're handicapped doesn't mean anything, you know. It really affects me to walk into, you know, like, really the only place I go is a doctor's office, because I don't like people looking at me. And a lot of times the way that children stare at me, or other people I catch staring at me, is very upsetting. And it's just because of my size. You know, I'm extremely large. I'm now on a size 34. I went down a size in clothes since the surgery. I'm still extremely large, and the looks that I get makes me not want to go anywhere. You know, I don't go to the movies because I can't sit in the chairs. I can barely fit. You know, people don't realize. And then, God, if you go to a restaurant, the way you get looked at, you know, I won't go to a buffet. I won't go to places like that, because they automatically think, you know, oh, they don't need to be eating that, you know. Or people who will mention to you, you need to lose weight. Like, we don't know that. We carry the weight around. We know that. We have to dress it, bathe it. We know. So there's no point in telling us that. The biggest reason for me is my children. Both of my grandparents are diabetic, and I know that that's my future if I didn't do anything. And I couldn't imagine leaving my children behind, knowing what it's like to be without my father at the age of 20. And then my brother and sister were 8 and 10 years old. And to see what they went through now that they're 18 and almost 20. I just couldn't imagine leaving my children, ever. You know, so it's not really about looks. It's about lifestyle, quality of life, being here for your family. My grandparents have lost 2 of their daughters. My other set of grandparents have lost 3 of their sons. You know, my mother's lost 2 of her sisters. And for my family, I can't leave them behind. I can't. They need me, you know. So, I guess the point of the story is, don't look at fat people and think horrible things. Don't just judge them by their weight. You know, that's not who they are. There's so much more to people. And on top of it, weight loss surgery is not the easy way out. These past 3 weeks have been the hardest weeks of my life. Emotionally, physically, it breaks you down, you know. So don't think it's easy. It's not. I mean, it's the best choice I've ever made. And I'll find that out more as, you know, I lose weight and things get better. But it's not the easy way out. So, you know, I guess the moral of the story is don't judge anybody, you know. And if you are staring at an overweight person, look away. It really hurts, and it'll just do harm in the long run, you know. So that's what I have to say, guys. Good night.